What is good, everyone? I'm IAnthonyD, and it's good to see your beautiful faces. We are talking Texas Chain Saw Massacre, the new mode, Rush Week. We got our first community hub post about this, where it's going to be breaking down everything in this video. We're talking escapes, how Johnny works, how the victims work, and then also we're going to be talking about, towards the end of this video, kind of the dark cloud that has appeared its ugly head over this game mode. But before we get into all that, make sure you slash that like button and subscribe with notifications set to all. Let's do this. Rush Week is a Giallo-inspired multiplayer mode coming to the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. Rush Week takes its inspiration from the late 70s Giallo-inspired slasher film. The love for that subgenre of cinema gives you a clearer vision for the horror film that you can cast yourself in with this 1v6 multiplayer mode. Taking place after the events of the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, Johnny is off wreaking havoc to unsuspecting victims. Landing at the Omega Sigma sorority house, we set our scene with Johnny attempting to break in. The goal for the sorority girls: survive and make it out alive. So the start of this game mode is going to have it with Johnny trying to break into this house. I'm sure we're going to get some sort of cutscene with him trying to, get his way, break into the door a little bit. Sorority girls running around. It's very similar to Friday the 13th. That's going to be a common theme here. And then the goal for the victims is simple: is survive and make it out alive. We're going to get into a little bit more how that actually works. Johnny and the 6 new playable sorority girls will be randomly assigned at the start of the match. The 2-story sorority house features multiple spots to run and hide in, including a locked basement that can be explored. Traversal is similar to the original game, with multiple windows that can be jumped out of, ladders to climb, and even an attic area with its own unique escape options. This brings up one of the first things here, and that is the player assignment will be random. So similar to Friday the 13th in that stance, where 7 people get into a lobby. One of them will be Johnny, the rest will be the sorority girls. The characters themselves, the actual sorority girls themselves, will also be random. So this has already got a little bit of feedback there where people are unhappy with that. To be honest, I'm not too upset about it, because as we will learn when we go through this community post, that these characters are nothing but looks. They don't have perks or abilities. So the randomness there isn't that big of a deal. It's more just, are you Johnny or are you not, kind of thing. It's interesting to hear that this game is going to play pretty similar in terms of like traversal and jumping out of windows and climbing up ladders to the original game mode. But they do mention here that we're getting our very first unique escape. This is something that they said a while back, and we've been waiting for it, and it's finally happening. So I'm really excited to see how this whole attic area escape works, because like, you get up into the attic, and then what are we going to do up there that's going to stop Johnny from just coming up there and slashing us? The article goes on to say, while the sorority girls will not have any perks, there are key items scattered throughout the house to help them escape. A pair of car keys can be found to unlock a car, where you can radio to the police to get help. Secondary, players can also complete a fuse objective to use a phone in the house to call the police. As well, if the police have been called successfully, players have a limited amount of time to survive in the sorority house with Johnny. There is an attic pole that can be used to make your final escape via an attic hatch, but be warned, at most only 2 sorority girls can escape through the exit. Johnny players can also break the ladder to prevent their escape. Whoa, okay. It's getting a little spicy, dude. You know what else is spicy? This video is brought to you by GFUEL. You know what I mean? Use code SLASHER to save at checkout. Cut those prices. You know what I mean? Stab those prices. Slasher, it works. Use code SLASHER. This video is also brought to you by SlasherGame.com. Rock the apparel. You know what I mean? Support the channel directly. I appreciate you. Let's get back to the video here. They're just throwing all this information at us. We get our escapes here. So the police is going to work similar to Friday the 13th. There's 2 ways of doing it. The very first one is you can find car keys to then access the car and radio the police. And then that will access the timer that you'll have to survive until they get there. Who knows if you have to get to like the front or backyard. Maybe it's similar to that. There's another option we have where you can actually find the fuse, complete the fuse objective, and then use the phone in the house. I imagine the fuse is going to work similar to how it does in the original mode. We'll probably have to, insert it, do the little mini game, turn it on, and then find the phone and call the police, and then that will access the timer before they arrive. Johnny still has an ability to kill you before the police arrive, so you have to be careful there. There's now that they talked about this attic pole thing. Climbing an attic pole is the final escape via an attic hatch, but only 2 sorority girls can escape. So that's kind of similar to how the bridge situation works in Killer Clowns, which I think is awesome, because it can lead to some really fun gameplay moments But interestingly enough, Johnny can actually break the ladder to prevent their escape. I don't know. That's a cool one. I can't wait to see how that plays out. The sorority girls can buy themselves time by using various weapons and distractions like the wrench, the knife, and the pepper spray, as well as an all-new mechanic using perfume that can be thrown at him to reveal his location. This is something that I find super interesting. I think myself and a lot of people were kind of thinking 1v6, Johnny's outnumbered here. And if you know anything about TCM, victim players are very good at figuring out how to beat up on the family. I mean, you gave them a door and they were able to literally destroy Leatherface. I mean, the grappling mechanic the way it is now, it's interesting that they're going this route. I really thought that there would not be any combat. I thought this was going to be full on hide and seek, but they are going the extra mile and introducing new weapons like a wrench, a knife, which I imagine works similar to the bone scrap, just stabbing them in the back, pepper spray, and perfume that can be used to reveal his location. That's pretty cool. Johnny's objective is to hunt. With each execution, he will get stronger, making him more lethal the longer a match goes. Within Rush Week, there will be a fear system in place, where if a sorority girl has a high level of fear, Johnny can smell that fear and find them easier. So it's important for the sorority girls to complete objectives in order to lower their amount of fear, or Johnny is going to get them. Wow, fear system is coming back. It's like Friday 13th, dude. I told you from the beginning, there's a lot of like heavy theme of F13 here. And it seems like we're gonna throw out the whole Johnny can sniff the feet kind of deal. And now he's gonna be able to sense their fear. This seems like an interesting mechanic, maybe of a way to force players to move and actually perform objectives rather than just straight up hiding the whole time. Because Johnny, your fear will build up and Johnny will find you and will kill you and will smell your feet probably even afterwards. You don't even have the ability and he's still smelling feet. I don't get it. Being able to explore our own canon in Rush Week, let me answer the question, why isn't Johnny in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre or any of the other films? Being able to create a new time frame for Johnny to exist, let us play around with that idea. The new game mode takes place 5 years later and gives you a clue as to what Johnny is up to in his new life on the run. The goal with Rush Week was to create a unique and new way to play Texas, while also exploring one of the new family members. Internally, we asked the question, if Johnny is in our game, why does he not appear in the 74 film? Where did he go? The game mode allows us to explore that storyline a bit. At the same time, it allows me to selfishly incorporate a film genre I love, Giallo. If you haven't watched a 70s era Italian horror film, please do. There really is nothing else like it. And honestly, Giallos crawled so Western slashers could walk. It was fun to be inspired by that film genre while also looking at other very early slashers and figuring out a way to make it work within the world of Texas. I can't wait for players to check it out. Now, if you've been in this community for a long time, you probably heard Wes Keltner talk about those types of films before. He's obviously a huge fan of it, and this is a very creative and unique way to incorporate it into TCM. I've already said this in the last video when we talked about this. I think this is brilliant. It's such a cool way to explore more on Johnny, but also breaking the asymmetrical mold and bots that they're stuck in. Being able to do things now like fun cosmetics that wouldn't exactly fit in the original TCM bots. I think that's really cool. But now is the time of the video where we talked about what I mentioned earlier. We did get news after this post came out that you will not be able to party up. This will be a solo only experience. And my personal opinion, coming from someone who cares about this community, cares about this game, and enjoys the work of these developers, I think this is the wrong answer. I don't get it. They did provide a little bit of a backing to this decision on Discord and Reddit, where they talked about how they want Rush Week to be an in and out fast type of thing where you queue up, you get picked on a random side, you either live or die, and you're on to the next match. And that adding matchmaking and party systems to their matchmaking system is going to maybe slow that down or get in the way of their vision of the game. I get that reasoning, and again, these guys are developers, these guys are creative, and we don't really know, or at least I don't know the inner workings to how this thing works. So I'm sure they came to this decision for good reason, for good cause, but I can't, man. I can't buy into it. This game at its core all these games, this entire genre. I've played them all for so long, so many hours in all of them, from last year to Hide or Die to Dead by Daylight, Friday 13th, TCM, Killer Clowns. These games at their core are party games. It's fun to run away from killers with your friends, and it's even more fun to kill your friends, which is why, in my opinion, I think Friday 13th was so fun, was because of the way it worked. I just think it's a big mistake, and I truly hope that they reconsider this. And that's just me coming at it from like a point of just like not trying to hate on it. This game's in a weird spot where just like the community and even the outside community of people who just play every once in a while, I don't know, sometimes they're a little harsh, but that's why I'm a little hesitant sometimes to apply like criticism to it. But I just think that this is one that's so clear cut where it's just like, this is not the right way, and I really hope they consider it. They do mention in the Discord that maybe it's something that they could change, so that's why I wanted to include it in this video, and more importantly, I wanted to hear what your guys' thoughts were down below. So if you enjoyed this video, slash that like button. If you like what I do here and you want to support, become a member of Slasher Gang for as low as $1 per month to support the channel directly. Comment down below your thoughts on Rush Week. What do you think about how Johnny works, the victims work? Oh, no party modes. Let's just talk about it, dude. I love hearing you guys' thoughts. I read every single comment. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for everything. I say that always. You know I love you. I love you, right? But listen, that's all I have for you. So make sure you remember the rules to survive. Don't do drugs. Don't have sex.
Everybody dies. Everybody dies. These days, there are certain rules. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. You gotta have a secret. You can never have sex. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. These days, you never drink.